Hi, I'm at Alley Park just south of Lancaster, Ohio, to tell you about an exceptional ghost story that took place just a stone's throw away from here in the spring of 1878. The ghost story centered on a family named the Brandams and their 8-year-old adopted son, George Stoneburner. They lived in a house very similar to this one. The only exception was that their house was nestled back in a ravine. Now, the strangeness started in the spring of that year one morning when Mother Brandam was on the porch doing her laundry and stones started to pelt the house. She shouted up to the hillsides, "Hey, whoever is up there, cut that out." But the stones kept pelting the house. Men from the fields came to search the hillsides and they couldn't find a culprit anywhere, but the stones were still pelting the house. People were in complete bewilderment. They would watch stones roll off the porches, even though they had people positioned all around the hillside. There was no way anyone could be up there. All the windows were getting broken out of the house. At one point, they only had one good window left, and they boarded it up to prevent it from being broken. And moments after doing so, the pane shattered inside the house, and a rock somehow flew into the living room through that window and landed in the floor. Now, pretty soon, suspicions fell on little Georgie. He was kind of small for his age. He was described as a bit bashful and distant. And the family noticed that he would occasionally dodge something. And when they asked him what he was doing, he said he could see the stones rising up in the air out of the fields and then whizzing towards his head. He also said that he could see a couple ghosts. One was a naked man that came to him and told him that there was a treasure buried at the base of a tree near the house. Everyone ran and started digging wildly, but they never found anything. The other one was a guy who was rather ragged looking that he would see running through the fields. He wasn't wearing any clothing, but his legs were covered in white ribbons. Now, at one point, the family decided to do an experiment and send George to stay the night at a neighbor's house. And they noticed that when they did so, the stoning ceased at their home, and it followed him to the neighbor's house. So whenever the neighbors brought him back, the family was like, "Oh, it's not the house that's haunted, it's George. George, we're sorry, but we're going to have to return you to the poor house from whence you came." And George was taken back to Lancaster to the infirmary where he became lost to history. One thing is interesting, that the stoning did not follow him to the poorhouse, even though it is said to have quite a few ghost stories of its own. So that's the story of this poltergeist activity that happened just a little bit away from where I'm standing right now in Alley Park, south of Lancaster. Be safe and thank you for watching.